Hey guys, welcome back. Today is Monday, the 18th of March. And I know I didn't come to you guys over the weekend. I really didn't do much stitching. I did a lot of reading. I finished 2 books. I finished this one, which is the 3rd in the series. It's like a Scottish bookshop mystery. And I finished one by Melanie Sellier, and it is about, like, it's twisted, not really twisted, it's just like fairy tales, basically, with a interesting retelling, I guess you could say. This is going to be my last clip for the week, or basically just the last clip of this series. About 80 degrees today. I think it was like upper 70s. Didn't get quite to 80 today. But it is supposed to get cold again next week, so I have all the windows open, so if you hear some extra noise, I apologize. I do have a finish to show you. And it's not just a finish, but an FFO. This is for Stitch Shenanigans, so if you don't want to see it, don't look. Alright, you guys go. So, I finished and framed Women Who Behave. So the back is it's a little thick, so it does stick up a little bit, but I haven't decided if I want to try to fix that yet or not. There's really no way to fix it, really, other than just sticking some more of these little guys on. But honestly, I'm not too worried about it because it should still like display just fine. Trying to see if it will, yeah, see if you hold it by the, like if you were to mount it on the wall, it would still totally hold, so not too worried about it. I think it was just a thicker material. But yeah, happy with that. It didn't take me too long, actually, so I just finished that up just a few minutes ago, which is why I am so late coming to you guys today. I know I said I was going to take you guys through the Minnie's Moonlit Madness clues, so I am going to do that, so if you don't want to stay, that's all I have for you. So I'll see you guys all next vlog. If you do want to stay, so we came in 15th place, which is one of the worst we've done, but it's still not bad considering, well, we were 15th in our group, so there's the two groups, and we were 15th out of our group, which had 400 people in it, so really not that bad. But we did okay in the trivia. We didn't have as much time to do the trivia this year, so that, like, we couldn't, like, go back to look at answers, so we couldn't, like, you know, try to Google really quick some of the answers. Some of the questions were insane. There was ones that were like, in the movie Chicken Little, which I haven't seen, what is the name of the language that Mrs. whoever the teacher was tries to teach the children? Then there was, this one I actually did know, what was the, let's see, how is it phrased? I think it might have just been who is even rude, or what is even rude. And he is from The Rescuers, and he is a dragonfly. Then they had at, I forget what the name of the restaurant, at some restaurant, what number is Walt's favorite table? And it was like 17 or something because it was the kids' table, something like that. Anyway, super hard questions. It's not like what movie is, you know, features. Let's see who's a good character. Like what movie has flounder in it. It's not something like that. So definitely really hard questions because it is all employees and their families, so people who know the parks really well. So we didn't get a breakdown of what all of our points were. but we think we missed, we didn't get the bonus question. We had it, but like we knew it, but when we went to turn it in, apparently they could see we didn't go to every station, which we didn't have time for. So yeah, we didn't get that, which we think that was maybe 200 points. They don't really tell you how everything is scored, and so that's where it's a little hard to tell. But we think we might have gotten to, we know that the actual 10 clues are 125 points each because we do the hard clues. But other than that, they don't tell you how everything is scored. So we think we missed 2 of the regular clues. However, it's really, like I said, difficult to tell when you can't tell how much trivia is. There were 50 trivia questions. Yeah, it's just hard to tell. So I'm going to take you through all of the clues that we did. I only have visual references for a couple of them. So, and actually my husband, let me see if it's on here. I don't think it is. He gave me a list of the actual order. Oh yeah, he did. Okay, so the very first clue you get is called a scatter clue. And what that means is that it counts as a clue, but not really. So you have to go to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so you have technically 11 clues, including the scatter clue. So you basically have to, they show you on screen, like you're going on a vacation and your baggage is being picked up in carousel, like K12 or whatever. You would go to and you have a little piece of paper that you get in your clue envelope the very first time. And if you look at K12, that tells you, like if you look on the map, it'll tell you, like, go to this place on the map. So you basically just have to go there, write down whatever it says. It's just their way to get everybody out in the park. And, like, just like it's called a scatter clue, to get everybody scattered throughout the park. So we did that. Ours was at the Embarcadero shop, which is, if you've ever been to California Adventure, it's basically in the middle of the park pretty much by the Little Mermaid ride. So that was our first clue. Then we had to go to, well, we actually got all of our clues at the same time this year, so we could do them in any order we want. So we decided, we had 3 clues that were, you didn't have to go anywhere for them. They were just clues. I have one of those here. I only have one actual piece of paper to show you guys. And this was one of them that we had. So it's basically like there's 3 puzzles. So I started working on one of the puzzles because I'm a good puzzle, like me and my husband are basically really good at puzzle solving. So he grabbed one of those clues, I grabbed the other one and we were basically looking at it and trying to solve it while we were going to our first location clue, which was the Toy Story. We had to go to Toy Story, Midway Mania, and in the queue, they have these posters. So I actually did some research, you guys. Don't faint. But basically, we had a piece of paper that showed, so there's I think it's 8 or 10 posters throughout the actual ride queue. We were given a couple of them, and there was pieces missing. So if you look at some of these, you had to try to figure out what was missing. So it could just be the little tiny part of the top of the volcano, or it could be the middle of the O on Pop. Basically they just had, I'm sorry, it wasn't missing. There was numbers next to all of them. And they gave you clues as to what numbers you were supposed to look at. Then that led you to, let's see, I wasn't really into this clue. I just really didn't help with that much because I was trying to focus on my puzzle clue. But basically that led to questions that you had to answer. It's all very convoluted, so if it doesn't make sense, trust me, I know. So that led to another clue, which ended up leading you to letters that you had to then spell out the final answer to the question. So for example, it might say, what number is next to the Triceratops horn? Okay, well, that'd be one of these two numbers. I think there was only probably one. That then you had to put, like, basically get all your numbers. Then you had to go to the cipher to look at what letter those corresponded with. And then I think they were mixed up. So then you had to mix them all around until they made sense and answer. And there's always one final question you're answering. So that was the final. And so the final question was, like, what those letters would spell out. So you had to go through and unravel them. Or not unravel, you know what I mean. Unmix them. Then we had to go to... Actually, this one wasn't next. So, okay, so he didn't send them to me in order. I don't remember what the order is. So another clue we had to do was we had to go to the knickknacks shop. This is actually one of the last clues we did. And this one took forever. So what we had to do was we had to go over to the knickknack shop, which is on the bridge that leads across the lake. And we had to, around the whole, it's a building that takes up like kind of two sides. So they tell you starting on the right-hand side, you had to go and you had to look. So like if this is the shop, right? See this above it? Those are silhouettes of characters. So what we had to do is, starting at the left, in order, we had to go through and write down the names of the silhouettes that did not have, see these diagonal lines? Let's see, there's that one. There's like, I know it's kind of hard to see, there's this little line right here. Basically, we had to find the characters that the diagonal lines did not go through. So, for instance, whoops. Alright, hang on, let me try to find a way to hold this so I don't touch the screen. So see like the car up here? So that's Luigi from Cars, and it's all Pixar characters. I didn't realize it was all Pixar characters until like 3/4 of the way through. Obviously, so this is one I had a big hand in. I did this one almost by myself. So there's this fish who's Gil from Finding Nemo. So basically you just had to go through in order and list all the characters. And the little baby from Incredibles, Jack, he was in it like 6 or 7 times. So then what you had to do is when you finally get all the characters in order, then you have to go to the back and there's a flow chart that you have to follow. So for instance, there would be a clue like, for the character that you have the most times, what is the letter of their name? The first letter of their name. And then it would have like J, and then it would have like F or something. So obviously J, if Jack was the most. So then you'd circle J, and then it would lead you down to another clue. What is the... Or how many times did you see Luigi? 1 or 3? 1, okay. Go down, and so basically it all leads to... Then of course you get down to the bottom. If your answer is this, go back to number 5. And so it was basically when you get to the bottom... the final answer was like some kind of coding language, because this was all coding. Every year has a theme, and this year was coding. So that was one of the clues that we had that I'm pretty sure we got right. Then we had, and I don't remember what the Toy Story answer was. I'll try to give you answers if I remember. But then the knickknacks was... Oh, see, I don't remember the name. I could look through my text. I don't want to. It'll take too long and it'll be boring for you guys. But it was basically like it had something to do with coding. Whereas the other ones did too. Like some of the other answers did too, because obviously if you did something wrong, then it would lead you to a different part of the flowchart, and it would lead you to a different word. But so like, and there was like 8 different total final answers. So I think like half of them were coding themed and the other half were like random words. But if you, luckily my husband and his coworker both are coders. So, and I mean, some of it was pretty common sense. Like some of the languages are definitely languages you've heard before, like Python, stuff like that. But It wasn't the final answer. It started with an F, I think, if I remember right. But anyway, so then we also had a Kingdom Hearts game that we had to do. So this one was really easy if you played Kingdom Hearts. So it was like basically a game board set up with tape that some squares were filled in. So they had a game character, which was basically just a person standing there, who was the game piece. And then there was a dice. And so you had to roll the dice, and whatever number you got, you had to tell the character where to go, or the game piece. You had to tell him where to go, and then whenever he got on that square, you had to answer a question about the game. So how many members are in Organization 13? You would say 13, and actually in this case you would be right. But and this is where they try to trick you, if you're super into the game, then you could seriously sit there and be like, oh, well, how many active members are there? Who is, like, at what point in the game are they talking? Or, like, the group of games or whatever. Sorry, I had a text. So in this case, and so luckily she gave us the clue, like, the numbers in the title. Who runs Disney Castle? King Mickey. So kind of, that one it was easy for us because I'm really into those games. So I still haven't gotten very far. I've only gotten to Toy Story Land on the new one, so I've been seriously slacking. Then we had, so one of the games was, so the first one my husband started working on when we first started the game, he actually did most of it himself, was Shakespearean song lyric references. And so what that was is you would have a line from a Disney song that was translated into Shakespearean language. And then you had to basically figure out what the line of them was and then answer what movie it was from. And then I think you had to take like basically they told you what number, like if there was a 3 next to it, like find the 3rd letter, find the 5th letter, and then, put it all together to answer the final question. So he had read some of those off. It took him a while, and I don't blame him. That was difficult. Because the ones that he needed help with, he tried to ask us, and we tried to figure it out like while we were walking. So, and I wish I could remember what some of them were. I don't remember any of them, but I know a couple of them were tricky because they could have been used for more than one song. And so we had to try to like work our way around to figure out what song it actually meant. And I don't remember the answer to that too, because basically my husband just did it and turned it in. So then we had the one that took us forever. So we had a list of clues. We had to go to Luigi's Rollicking Roadsters. And on the wall, there are a bunch of hubcaps. We had a picture of the hubcap that we were supposed to do, and basically had to figure out what letter it was. What? Yeah. This is kind of like a computer keyboard. The problem is that some of them are the same. So, like, if you look, like, let me find 2, hang on. So, like, this one right here, oh, no, sorry, this one right here, and this one right here are the same hubcap. This one seriously took us way too long. We went to it, we started figuring it out, or, like, trying to figure it out, realized we were taking too much time, we took a picture. This is not the picture, this is from the internet. Took a picture of it and just went on to the next clue. So we were like, we can try to figure it out later. It's fine. We didn't fit, like, this is our, I think this was like the 2nd or 3rd clue we went to. This was our last clue to finish. And so the final answer was Rickrolled. So it was literally like 4 different pictures on the top and then 6 pictures on the bottom, which would be fine, but they didn't tell you this is a keyboard. They didn't tell you anything about it. So, and not only that, some of the, like, this one's too short. Some of these have an extra Like, not only do you have to figure out which hubcap it actually means, like this one or this one, but there's some extra letters or some extra hubcaps in here, and like there's like one or two missing. So you don't know if, for instance, if this is a W or an E. Because even though it's the second one in, there's too many in the top row, so you don't know for sure how, like, which one they mean. Seriously took us forever. The only clue we had was because the LL in Rickrolled, because it was the same, obviously the same hubcap. So that would be, and it actually wasn't the one on the end like you would think it would be. It was that one right there. So yeah, super difficult. And actually it was my husband's coworker who figured it out. If you know what Rickrolling is, it's basically when you go to a video and then Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up starts playing, and they call it being Rickrolled. So it's like basically a joke when you're watching something else and it, like that video comes on instead. They call it, you've been Rickrolled. He's the one that figured it out, and it was a reference to the end of Wreck-It Ralph 2. He hadn't seen the movie yet. He just, because he's obviously gotten Rickrolled quite a few times. So it was awesome that we figured that out. We think we might have been one of the only people to actually get that one. Because when we had gotten there, like when we had gotten to the hubcaps in the first time, it was completely packed. Like definitely more than any other clue was. So then we had, so then we had to go to the Starbucks. It wasn't open for Starbucks, unfortunately. We had to go there, and they had tables set up, and it was basically a game of memory. Easy enough, right? Mm-mm. It was the Tsum Tsum character had to match up with the Disney Emoji Blitz character, which if you've ever seen these things, they don't look super similar to, let me see if I can look at, let's look at, so it was just like a regular memory game where you had to match up the two characters, whatever. The thing is we couldn't talk to each other, and we had to take turns. So for instance, actually let me look up Peter Pan. Sorry, I should have had this one ready, but I didn't think to do this one. So, like, you had to look up, and this one's really easy because it's Peter Pan. It was all princesses. We didn't have Peter Pan. But this is the Tsum Tsum. This is the Emoji Blitz character. And actually, that's probably a bad, actually, let me look up one that I know we had. And sorry guys, I know this is boring, but I wanted to give you a better idea of what we were looking at. So like, for instance, this is one we had. So Mulan, this is the Tsum Tsum. This is the Emoji Blitz. Guess what other characters look like that? Mulan, or this is Mulan. Moana looks also like this, especially with the flower in her hair. You would automatically think Mulan, or sorry, you would think Moana because she's, you know, tropical Hawaiian. And there's really nowhere in the movie that Mulan wears a flower except for the one like part where she's talking about reflections. I'm almost positive that flower is white, not pink. So, Cinderella and Alice both have blonde hair. They both look really similar. Belle and, who am I thinking of? I know Belle looked like somebody. But yeah, it was really difficult to tell because, you know, normal game in memory, the two match perfectly. It's all good. There was somebody there that was running the game that told you whether you were right or wrong, but you basically had to ask her, like, these are really like, are these a match? They're, you know, they're very similar. So then once we finished that whole puzzle, we basically just got a sticker saying we finished it. From the person running the game. So after that, we had my puzzle, which my puzzle that I was trying to figure out was Disneyland versus Disney World attractions. So it was basically a list of Disneyland attractions, and then it had a list of clues. And the clues were something like, this attraction has, it was a while ago. I know one of them was something like, this attraction added a water feature to the queue. Which was, what was the answer to that one? Dumbo was the answer to that one. Because Disneyland, when they redid their Dumbo, they added a water feature to the outside. So basically stuff like that. And then they had all the Disney World rides, if I remember right, listed, and then with a letter. So then that became the letter. And I couldn't figure out what to do with it after that. Like, there was no clues or anything. So I gave it to my husband, and he's actually the one that figured it out. So there was numbers associated with it too. So that was another one, I think, where you had to take, like, if it was a number 3, you had to take the third letter of the ride. So Dumbo would be M. And then move it all around, like switch it all around and stuff. Then we had to go to Guardians of the Galaxy, where this is another one that I was working on another puzzle for, so I didn't totally like pay attention to this one. But basically we had a bunch of pieces of paper that were all the same size, but with different symbols and stuff on them. I remember this part because I actually did have to do this part. And then what you had to do was put the pieces of paper on top of each other, shine a light, so it was like 6 pieces of paper that, like, you know, were all stacked on each other. And then you had to shine a light through it so you could see, basically it had a whole list of, or not a whole list, but like basically some blank spots were filled in by other symbols. So like if you had a symbol, blank, blank, symbol, blank, the other pieces of paper, when you put them all together, eventually had all the spaces filled in with some symbol. So then we had to, let's see, after we got all the symbols, we had a code. Like, we had the symbols all written on a piece of paper. Oh no, in that case we had what we had the symbols were matched up to a letter. So then what we had to do, go through is we had to, like, look through the stack of papers and put letters next to each one so we could figure out what it was, like, what the question was. So that question had us go over to Guardians of the Galaxy because they were, I forget the, like, T-Bon symbols or whatever. Like basically the alien language in Guardians of the Galaxy. So then we had to run over there, and the question was, what is the name of or what does the sticker say that has the 4 planets on it? Like that was the message we had to decipher. So what we had to do is we had to go over to Guardians of the Galaxy, and we had to go into the Fast Pass line. I tried to find a picture of this. I could not find a picture. Go into where they give out the fast passes and look, because those are set up like they made them themed to look like pieces of luggage that have stickers on them. So what we had to go through is we had to go through and find what stickers or which sticker had 4 planets on it. Easy, right? Some stickers had 3 planets. Some had 2. Some had 3 planets and a star. Some had, the one that we were looking at had 4 planets. Some had a partial planet and 3 other planets. So you had to find one with all 4 that were actually planets, not stars or comets or other, celestial bodies, and write the name, write whatever word was on that sticker. And of course, it's not just us. There's a bunch of other people trying to figure this out too, so you can't shout out the answers, obviously, because they're like, oh, okay, let's write that one down. And not only that, but you're all roped together. So there's 4 of you attached to a rope that's trying to get through another 4 people that are attached to a rope. And you're all trying to do this around these, objects. We ran into the same problem in the Toy Story line, because of course it's a switchback queue, where, go back and forth. But everyone was, grouping in front of the puzzles, or in front of the posters. So then we had, I know, it's super long, it's already half hour, sorry. Then we had to go to, well, here, actually, let me do this one. So this is the only clue that I actually have. So, we were given these 2 things. So it's a cipher, and then on the back, you have letters. So, basically what it says, the 3 strange journals in the animated series Gravity Falls contain notes, maps, and encoded messages of all the town's mysteries. So Gravity Falls is I've never seen it before, but it's a show on Disney Channel. Even the show's credits contain cryptograms revealing hidden messages or foreshadowing of future episodes. In your envelope, you received a cipher ring. Use the ring in 2 steps to translate the messages and answer the question on the back of this page. To decode an encrypted message, it is first necessary to have the key. Using the symbol substitution side of the ring and the A1Z26 cipher, solve this message for the code key. This message. So basically what you had to do is you had to look on here to find the symbols that match. So for instance, let's see. This one is this one. So it has a little number 11 next to it. So it's number 11. Then you have to take the numbers, and this is where you actually have to read the directions. And it took me a minute because I didn't read the directions. Use the A1Z26 code. So then you have to take these numbers. A is 3. Or sorry, no. A is 1, 3 is C. So basically what this ends up saying is Caesar code key is 4. And this is where I'd forgotten it was called the Caesar key. So my husband helped me out with this one. C is 4. That's where this part comes in. What that means is that, because then on the back you have this. What the heck does that even say? So if C is 4, or sorry, the key is 4. Right? Yeah. So what that means is that A starts at the number 4. If I'm reading this right. So Mr. for M if you look on here, M is now the letter I. R, if you look on here now, R is, sorry, it's backwards on my phone, N. So we had to go through and decode all of these. So then, and it's kind of hard to see, in season 2 of Gravity Falls, who is Grunkle Stan trying to rescue? So this was the final question that we had to answer on our envelope. And I forget who, it was basically the 2 main characters. None of us had seen this show, so we had to Google it. So if we got the answer right, then the answer was the 2 main characters, and I forget what their names are. Yeah, this is how pretty much every clue is. And then the final clue that we had, let's see, did that one, did that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. Okay, and then the final clue that we had was we had to go to, it used to be Muppets 3D. I forget what it is now. I think it's just like you can watch previews of movies. It's next to Monsters, Inc. We had to go in there, and this one was actually really fun. So, if you know your Muppets characters, they had each Clue Crew person was a Muppet, but obviously no costumes or anything. You had to go up and ask them a question, like, so you'd go up and say, have you seen Kermit? And the person, if they were Kermit, they would give you a little card that had Kermit's picture on it. If they didn't, then you had to, and if they weren't, then they would say, or no, it was, have you seen Kermit, not are you Kermit? Have you seen Kermit? You were trying to figure out who done it. If they hadn't, they would say something like, no, but I've seen someone who likes to heckle a bear. I forget what it was, something like that. And then you would ask them, oh, are you Statler and Waldorf? Yes. So they would give you the clue. They didn't have a lot, like, they had well-known Muppets. They had some that weren't so well-known, like Janice from the Dr. Teeth and Electric Mayhem band. They had not a whole lot of people know Statler and Waldorf, although they're my favorites. They had like Gonzo and Kermit, Miss Piggy. They had Rolf. I forget if they had Dr. Teeth or not. But basically, and then what you had to do is you had to get the cards, and you had to mix and match them until they formed a picture on the back. And I think that one was just a sticker. So then once you got the picture assembled, you go and show it to, and then I think it ended up being the person that we were missing. And it was, who was it? I think it was, if I remember right, I forget what his name is. It was the guy who throws the boomerang fish. I don't know, I can't remember. I can picture him, the Muppet, but I just can't think of his name. Look it up while we're here. Muppet Boom. Oh yeah, New Zealand. That guy. Oops. So that ended up being what the picture was. It was just a drawing. So we had to rearrange it so it formed his picture, and he was the one who done it. So once we figured that out, we took it over to the final person, and she gave us a sticker or whatever saying you passed. So that one was really easy because we knew the Muppets and stuff. I was surprised at the number of people that were having trouble with some of the clues, though. I thought they were pretty obvious, but maybe it's just because I'm a Muppets fan. But yeah, so then that was the last, well, not the last clue, but that was all 10 clues. So now that I've talked your ear off for 40 minutes, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, I always really enjoy doing these. You have to be a puzzle person, I think, really, to do it. I mean, it's fun even if you're not. There's some people who go and only do 3 clues because it all goes to charity and they just have a fun time doing it. This year the charity was Girl Scouts, so that was nice. And that is all I have for you guys. If you have any other questions about it or about anything from this week, let me know in the comments below. My homework this week, I'm not going to be able to work on George Washington at all. The couple of rows I did was for extra credit, but they're being pretty strict with this week. But I'm going to talk more about that in my next set of vlog, or my next, series of vlogs. So anyway, that is all I have for you today. I hope you all have a great week. /2 weeks. I do leave. I'm going to try to come back to you before then with my next vlog. If I don't, then I will get to you probably in 2 weeks, which will be after, we'll see. It'll probably be after Stitch Shenanigans. But yeah, I leave for Hawaii a week from tomorrow. No, sorry, 2 weeks from tomorrow. So I'm hoping I'm going to come back to you guys before then. But I will see you all later. Let me know. Like I said, if you have any questions, leave them down below. Thank you guys for all the likes, comments, subscribes, and I will see you all next time.